Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into the YouTube channel. It's that time of year where the spawn is approaching the end of its run, where the largemouth bass are, for the most part, at least in this part of the country, in Texas, a lot of that has taken place. I'm not saying there's not going to be more fish that pull up throughout the rest of April and even to maybe the first week or so of May. But for the most part, that's coming to a conclusion. You're starting to see fry balls, you're starting to see cruisers, and not as many fish left on the beds. What ends up happening next is anglers start talking about, has the shad spawn started? Where are the shad? Are they starting to show up? Are they starting to spawn? And that type of conversation definitely leads to people looking for that type of bite. And when you're looking for that type of bite, probably the very best tool for finding a shad spawn is something I learned, oh my gosh, probably circa 2008, 2009, when I was fishing the Bassmaster Elite Series. We were fishing, I believe it was Murray, or maybe it was Clark's Hill, and that was blueback herring spawn. The blueback herring have some similarities in the way that they act when they're doing their spawn like the shad do. And one of the best tools that I learned from a fellow pro, which was Greg Hackney, I forget how I learned it from him, but at any rate, one of the best tools for finding the shad spawn is a spinnerbait. A spinnerbait is got to be the very best, in my opinion, for finding the shad spawn. I mean, you can throw a chatterbait style lure, you can throw a square bill, and you could throw a little swim bait. But whenever there's a shad spawn, if I've got a 1/2 ounce double willow tied on, and you could have the little swim bait trailer like I've got on here or not, but a 1/2 ounce white double willow spinnerbait like I've got here. This is actually a homemade one. I've just kind of cannibalized some parts from other spinnerbaits, but I actually poured that head, tied that skirt. So it's nothing fancy, but it's a 1/2 ounce double willow spinnerbait that I feel like is just fantastic at finding the shad spawn. And why I think it's so good is because you can cover a lot of water. Number one, it throws well because it's a 1/2 ounce. Those double willow blades, and I think I've got like a 3 or 3.5 and a 4 here, or it might be a 3 and a 3.5. But whatever it is, these blades spinning around, they just seem to attract the shad and pull them in. And it's just been a real effective search bait for finding the shad. Now, once I find the shad spawn or the herring, doesn't mean necessarily that it's happening, like as far as like fish, largemouth bass are preying on those shad, but it'll definitely tell me where the presence of shad are in the shallow zone. And that's typically where you're gonna find the shad spawn, around wood or riprap rocks or any kind of bank grass, water willow, reeds, different places like that. Those harder type vegetations and harder objects like riprap, and even the floats on docks and the walkways where you have floats that suspend the walkways. Man, that spinnerbait fished in and around those areas, and I keep it, somewhat high in the water column, a foot or a 1.5 feet, 2 feet. But what'll typically tip me off is that I'm around the shad and that there's some shad activity in the area, is I will actually see them hitting those blades. You'll see the shad either following the spinnerbait, but a lot of times you'll actually feel them ticking that blade. Like you'll feel something hitting the blades, and it's not a bass, but you'll feel those shad hitting the blades, and you can just cover a lot of water. You'll find the areas that have the largest concentrations of shad with this tool. And then there are times when you'll find an area that has shad and no real bass preying on them. But in the days to come, a lot of times that will happen and it'll get better and better. But to me, this is the best tool for finding those shad. And sometimes you'll find the shad, but you really don't find the actively feeding largemouth on the shad. But then you could slow down because those bass might be in the area. But this is just the best tool, in my opinion, for finding the shad and really kind of getting a clue as to the areas they're using. And then it might not be the bait you catch the bass on, but you can slow down, fish a soft jerk bait, or you could fish a swim bait on a jig head, or you may even have to slow down further than that. But definitely the very best, in my opinion, bait for locating shad or blueback herring, that shad spawn, or any type of bait fish that are getting ready to move shallow to do their annual ritual. The shad spawn typically happens in the high 60s and then even warmer, and then it is usually associated with a full moon. So if you're getting those types of conditions, keep your eye open for the shad spawn. Another thing that'll tip you off to it is blue heron, the snowy white egrets, and there might be some other diving birds in an area. Just keep your eyes peeled for those types of things as well. It'll help you locate that shad spawn. But if you're looking for that shad spawn, tie on a 1/2 ounce white double willow spinnerbait, preferably double willow silver blades, and just get chunking and winding. Put the trolling motor down, cover water. You look also with your forward facing sonar if you have that. If not, keep your 2D on, and you'll see as you move through areas where there's life and where there isn't. Thanks for tuning into the YouTube channel. If you got anything out of this video, please give me a thumbs up and then drop a comment down below. Love to hear what your thoughts are on the best tools for the shad spawn. Also, check out the description section. I'll have a link to my merch, Team Niggemeyer Fishing, hats, hoodies, t-shirts, decals, and so forth. It's really the best way that you can support the channel. As well, there'll be links to my social media, Facebook, Instagram, and my website. Until next time, thanks for watching and good fishing.